So before I moved to Los Angeles, I made a living in Toronto working for pretty much every Canadian version of a talent reality show. So I worked on Canadian Idol and Canada Sings, and So You Think You Can Dance Canada. And we even adjusted Dancing with the Stars to be super Canadian. So we put it on ice, and we had ex-NHL hockey players and ex-Olympic figure skaters compete in figure skating and called it Battle of the Blades. So after Battle of the Blades, I was asked to join the team for Canada's Got Talent, and I was asked to be their music supervisor. I was very excited because Martin Short was going to be one of the judges. And my favorite part of these reality shows is the audition process, because if you're a producer, you get to fly around the country going to super exotic places like Winnipeg and Regina. And you get to audition people before they actually go before the judges. So most of the people you see on TV have already sat through 1 or 2 rounds of people like me. And our first stop for Canada's Got Talent was in Vancouver. So I arrived there and we have 3 days of auditions, and I'm so excited because after Canadian Idol, it's not just going to be singing. Like, to sit in an audition room and hear the original rendition of Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen gets so painful about midday. So with Canada's Got Talent, I'm like, this is awesome. There's going to be like hula hoop dancers and magicians and dogs doing tricks. Sign me up. So I arrived the first day, and Siobhan, our coordinator, is like, here you go, here's your room assignment. And I'm like, Siobhan, this is a singers only room. She's like, yeah, you're the music supervisor. You know music really well. You get through them really fast. You have a singers room. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. But we need to talk about this tonight. So I go, I do my day, and I have this super sweet little assistant named Chloe. And that night at dinner, I'm like, Siobhan, can you please put me in another room? Like, I just really want to see like a juggler or something. I can't handle the singing. She's like, yeah, I'll see what I can do. Next day, singer's room. I'm like, oh, come on, Siobhan. She's like, all right, just do it one more day, and then maybe on day 3, I can switch it up a bit. I was like, all right. So I come back day 3, and she puts me in the singer's room. I'm like, Siobhan, you told me, like, I came to see bunnies hopping over fences. I don't care about singers anymore. She's like, look, just do the singing room, and I'll try to throw you a bone. Like, I'll try to send some extra people in your room. I was like, okay. So midday, right after we got the Starbucks run, she pops her head in. She's like, hey, I have a treat for you. And in walks this guy, and he is a fire thrower. And I am so excited, because I don't have to hear I Will Always Love You again. And so he comes in, and you do the little, like, get to know them, because you want to know if they have a fiance they might propose to, or somebody sick who they dedicate a performance to. And after we get to through that point, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to start this first routine, and it's like fire dancing. So he hauls out this, it's like a ball and kind of a chain on it. And he's like, is it okay to light this? And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, they wouldn't have sent you into the room if you couldn't do your talent. So, yeah, light it. He was like, okay. So he pours some kerosene on it, he lights it, and he does his dance, and it's really cool. And he's brought this, like, metal bucket, I guess, and he puts it out in there, and afterwards we're talking. And I was like, okay, well, do you do anything else? Because sometimes with these people, they're like one-trick ponies. They've only kind of got one routine, and if I put him through, I have to make sure he can have another performance if he gets through the first round. And he's like, yeah, I have this really cool juggling act. I was like, awesome. So why don't you show me that? I was like, okay. And so he gets out these 3 torches, I guess they're called, and he lights them, and he's doing the act, and everything's going great. And I am feeling really proud right now, because I'm like, I am going to get an awesome talent that's not a singer, and then I don't have to sit in the singing room anymore. And then his torch goes a little too high, hits the ceiling of this conference room. I'm not in, like, you know, some conference rooms are really tall. I'm in the singing room, so it's shorter. it hits the ceiling and kind of rolls, like hits the carpet and then rolls towards the curtains. And I panic because this is so far out of my zone of comfort. And I'm like, oh my God, Chloe, just do something. And I run over with my coffee and throw my coffee, which I miss, and it's not helping at all anyway. And apparently this has happened before, because he manages to like very expertly put the small fire out. It's like, the carpet's fine. The curtain, a little singed. And I'm like, oh shit. Siobhan has just sent this guy in, and I've messed up the one chance I have of not being in the singing room. And Chloe looks at me, she's like, I'm gonna go get Siobhan. I was like, no, you are not gonna go get Siobhan. Shut that door. And she's like, okay. I'm like, open the windows. We have to air this place out. And so we open the windows, and the fire thrower's like, okay. And he's trying to like clean it up. I take, like in hotels, there's that first curtain that's kind of sheer, and then there's the second one. Well, the second one that you can see is fine. It's the sheer one that's suffered a little bit. So I'm like, Chloe, take down the curtain. She's like, I don't think you need to do this. I'm like, just take down the curtain, okay? It's my call. I'm the producer in the room. Just take down the curtain. And so we take down this curtain, and we kind of like rub the sort of singed area so it's gone. And I'm like, get the garbage. And I'm throwing, meanwhile, Siobhan's texting me. Like, my phone's going crazy, going, what are you doing in there? Can I send the next batch in? I was like, no, things are great. Has awesome story. Just getting details for the judges. And I look at him, and I'm like, I promise you, I will get you to Toronto, and you will audition in front of the judges if you don't say a word of this. And I mean, this works out for him. So he's like, yeah, cool, I'll do that. And Chloe's looking at me. She looks like a poor deer in headlights. And at this point, as I'm handing her the garbage bag with the curtain in it, she thinks I've lost my mind, and she's not wrong. I was like, Chloe, you need to take this garbage. I don't care what you have to do to get it by anybody, and you need to get rid of it. And she's like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I am not going to sit through another rendition of Hallelujah. Do you understand me? And she was like, and all of a sudden, for the first time, I felt like somebody actually got me, because she'd been in that room for the past 3 days, and she looked at me, and it was like watching somebody blossom, because she got so brave, and she was like, I understand. I'm going to do this for you. And she did.